I just think it's the most interesting thing there is. A good song can be touching, very illuminating, very powerful little gem story. I'm Jim Terr. I'm a songwriter, and I want to share with you in this series called Song and Story Weekly, which is actually going to be 4 times a week, the joy of songwriting. You know, I'm not sure many people think about it, but except songwriters, but we listen to songs all day, every day. We appreciate it. We're touched by them at best. And we don't think much about how they're written, or we don't think about writing them. And it's actually a fascinating craft. I aspire to write particularly country hits like Tom T. Hall and Bobby Braddock have consistently. That's kind of my brass ring. I want to share with you some songs I've written and recorded, some of which I think are pretty good, and I've had a little success, and give some background. I always think it's interesting with regard to anything, songs or movies or anything, to hear how it was put together, how the thought came about, what the considerations were. I just think songwriting is about the most fun you can have. And the rewards are great if you get a good hit country song cut by somebody else, in my case. For the first 31 episodes here, I'm just going to take 31 songs from this book that I wrote, actually way back in 1988. Called You Got to Be Stupid to Sing Country Music, and Other Unusual Song Lyrics by Jim Terr. I hope you'll enjoy this series. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to have a new song every day, background on the writing, the recording, whatever. And then on Saturday, particularly, I'll emphasize more the songwriting considerations, so that the Saturday installments could be used as a forum for thinking about your own songwriting or working on it as a group with your family. I think that'd be a great activity. So welcome, and let's get to it, and here we go. Well, welcome. I'm doing this one kind of incognito with this sort of white screen police interrogation technique, because I want to remain anonymous and because I haven't shaved today. And this is a song called If You Don't Like Country Music. One of the few songs I've ever gotten to do my mouse tuba thing on, which I enjoy so much. And as you can hear, I live in a religious community. Can you hear that in the background? Anyway, this was done in 1988, and it's a theme that's been repeated quite a bit since then, or maybe before then, I don't know, about sort of like I'm country and I'm rough-hewn and you're city and you're sophisticated, but you better learn to do things my way or we're not going to get along. And this is a specific sort of sub-genre to that about if you don't like country music, we're not going to get along. And there have been, I think, several songs like that along the line, but this is my version way back in 1988. And I make reference to Kenny Rogers, Alabama, Ricky Skaggs, Randy Travis, Haggard, and Jones, none of whom are real popular right now or alive, as the case may be. But you know, those were my examples. If you don't like them, we're not going to get along. And if you don't like country music, well,
you didn't like me swearing, so I cleaned up my act. And you didn't like my mama, so I helped that woman pack. And you didn't like me smoking, so now I just breathe air. And I even gave up coffee, though that really wasn't fair. Now everyone must give and take, but there's limits, don't you know? Some things you do irritate me too, but I don't always let it show. You don't like watching football? Well, I can let that pass. But if you don't like country music, well, didn't I clean up my apartment so you could walk on through? And don't I shower every day to prove that I love you? And didn't I take your hat to the cleaners and put it back in the closet When that little bird liked it so darn much he left a little deposit on it? Well, don't I eat your soybean salad without making a face? And don't I listen to your music that comes from outer space? No, you don't find me complaining about your classical or jazz. But if you don't like country music, honey, now you can take a side street if the freeway's too darn fast. And if you don't like trout fishing, you can always fish for bass. And if you don't like your teacher, you can take another class. But if you don't like country music, well, maybe Kenny or Alabama could ease you into my frame of mind. Then Ricky and Randy and Haggard and Jones, they won't be far behind. Cause you don't know me if you don't know Merle, and if I'm not putting it too crass, if you don't like country music, yeah, if you don't like country music,